What are Paradox Pokemon? Hey everyone, it's Dusty Go-Go. Welcome back to my headcanon. Here's a conversation I had with Ruffled Rowlet and Soul Silver Art.
But then, of course, comes in the subject of like the Paradox Pokemon and where do they fit in? Are they kind of like I guess they are kind of like the Ultra Beast slash Mega slash Gigantamax forms of this generation, I guess, right? They kind of like fall into that category.
Kind of, yeah.
They almost have like a similar origin because they are from a different time period, a completely different dimension, where the Ultra Beasts are from Ultra Space, which is just another dimension. So I think they are really, it is similar. Where it's like the Ultra Beasts, there could be a game where it's like we get Pokemon that look like Ultra Beasts but are smaller and more humane. So like I think it is all going to be kind of in the same vein. Until I see what Paradox Pokemon look like. I mean, I guess we've kind of seen it with the Legends. I'm really just imagining like Eternal Floette as what a Paradox Pokemon could be.
How do you mean? How do you mean Eternal Floette? Because like Eternal Floette to me is just a recolor, a reskin.
Are they truly going to be wholly new designs?
Well, you have an example already. We've already seen the Mungus.
Yeah. So what is that? To me, that's like the same design, but just
it looks identical to me.
And in Eternal Floette, it has a different flower. It's like it also has different color, but it also has a different aspect to it. Like the design is different.
Yeah,
I don't know. The fact that it's a middle stage, it's not Eternal. It's not the third stage, right? It's the middle stage that gets this new form.
Cyclizar threw a whole wrench in what I was thinking about them because he doesn't really look that much like Miraidon and Koraidon.
He doesn't. He's got certain aspects.
So like that is very different. And then you have a Mungus, which looks pretty similar to regular Mungus.
From what we can tell.
Yeah, from what we can tell. Like, actually, when I look at it close, sometimes I think, like, is that, like, one big eye that it has in the center of its face?
Yeah, rather than its mouth.
I think maybe it's just its mouth and you don't see eyes on it. You know what I mean? Like, so I think between those two ideas, like a really simple Amoonguss design and then more of, like, Miraidon and Koraidon. Sure. So, like, somewhere in between that is what I think they'll look like.
Cyclizar to either Koraidon or Miraidon is such a great change, and those are legendary Pokemon.
Yeah,
I wonder really, like, are these actually going to look like not evolutions in the same timeline, not basic Pokemon evolution, but are these going to be like true real world evolutions where they're like complete? I mean, they are completely new Pokemon, but are these going to look like? Because you could say like Obstagoon is a Paradox form of like Linoone, right? If those were actually separated, you'd be like, okay, I could kind of see that.
Yeah, you could maybe. It all really depends on how different they look.
See, okay, so that's one thing I want to just add real quick. When I look at like Cyclizar, I personally can see Miraidon in it. Koraidon is thousands of years old, and Miraidon is thousands of years in the future. Think about a dog and a wolf, Game of Thrones. Like, what are they called again? Like the
direwolves.
Like the direwolves, yes. Think of those three right now, okay? Think of those three. Like, Cyclizar is basically the domesticated version of a Koraidon. A cat is basically Cyclizar. It is the domesticated version. The version that, like, regular people have, they domesticated
the future
it.
Version of a domesticated cat could be like, what if in the future we put, like, Google Glass on, and we put like chips into our animals, and they become like cyborgs.
That's kind of the way I imagine it. When it was like the freest version of it, the wildest version of it, and like an almost legendary version of this Pokemon. Like, imagine if like Pikachu had a legendary version of itself, right?
I want
that's kind of how I imagine it.
It's Gorochu. That's the thing. Dude, Gorochu for DLC. I really do love this concept though, because then that would essentially mean like it would bring legendary Pokemon back down to earth. Like what we've seen from legendaries, there's one in a game, they're super epic, and there's some like the Creation Trio where it's like that's truly like a god, it's like too powerful. But a lot of legendaries are just like really powerful regular Pokemon. And I like that concept, and that would also explain why they don't evolve, right? It's like almost like as if you would recontextualize all the legendaries where they're just basically they were once regular Pokemon, which is so cool. Yeah. And then Soul, was it you who said Magearna and Carbink?
Well,
like that is perfect.
Yeah.
Technically, legendary Pokemon, like, what are they actually? I mean, if you really think about it, they're just regular Pokemon. It's just that they're considered legendary because they most likely died out. And there's only one of them left, usually. That's what makes them legendary.
Well, that's what we think, but maybe they're all Paradox. Maybe they all come from
exactly.
Time.
I mean, but that's the thing. Then they have died out. That's it. They've literally like just died out over time because
Think of like the Loch Ness monster, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Theoretically, there were multiples. Yeah, so you're right. That's so cool. There really are a lot of legendary Pokemon that are not like nothing special. Think of Heatran. It's not Rayquaza. It's not a box legendary. There are regular legendaries like that. So I would think.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. Like I think.
So
this is honestly so cool. This is such.
I want to throw a wrench in all this right now.
Right.
You ready? So, the thing is, though, Ku has been saying some crazy things about them not having to do with time travel or ancient versions or future versions of that.
Yeah, they're more like urban legends and stuff. Yeah.
He said that they're not like time travel. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like he was questioning the idea of us saying like ancient and future forms, and instead it's more like they're just paradoxes.
Instead of them being from the past to the future, shouldn't we just see them as from a different timeline then? That's it.
A different timeline, different dimension, just like Legends Arceus. Everyone says,
right,
back in time, and it's not back in time.
They're like, they're basically. Yeah, go ahead.
It kind of throws out the whole idea of them being like, oh, this de-evolved, or it became, like this domesticated Cyclizar. Instead, it's just like a random version of Cyclizar that came from a different dimension.
That would imply that in some universe out there, right, there exists a version of like a Mungus that evolved to be that way rather than the way it ended up being in our world. I mean, they may not be past or future forms, but they technically also still are, because in that world, like let's hypothetically say the Amoongus is from a version of the universe. Let's hypothetically say in that world, the Earth is like filled with these toxic gases, and that's why humans couldn't live there.
Any Pokemon you like could be a legendary in another dimension. Like there's a version of Scizor, there's a version of Go-Goat.
Oh my god, of course.
Sableye, dude. I'm just like giving examples.
Of all the best ones.
Yeah, just examples. Very specific examples there.
Literally.
I see.
So there's a version of there's a version of Fido that could be a legendary Pokemon. Or have legendary stats. I'm being serious. That's what this opens the gates for. Like,
he went the opposite. He said, I'm going to take the worst now.
My lord.
We can't like totally throw out the time stuff either. That's what really has me like messed up. Because you have like
too many layers at that point.
Yeah,
it becomes too many layers.
And you have Kurai and Mirai, which is future and past, basically. There's something. Maybe it's just the theme, But I don't know. Even we're not talking about the future forms either. We're mostly talking about the past ones. The future ones, they're like robot life, like they're all like futuristic.
Yeah.
So there is something with the time, the themes of future and past at least.
What if in the DLC they give us Paradox Suicune, and it's like the Pokemon that was said to be reborn by Ho-Oh, and they could just call it like, because it's just another dimension, right? Or it's another.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And like the legend maybe was created.
I was looking at the design of a Suicune that was like an ice type, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, imagine if in an alternate universe, Ho-Oh didn't revive, because that's the theory, right? That Ho-Oh revived, like, the evolutions, and then they became, like, the legendary beasts, right? Now imagine if, hypothetically, Ho-Oh was just kind of cruising around some mountains, like Mount Silver, and up there was a Jolteon that died. And because it was revived there in that location, it gained an ice typing instead.
These designs could be amazing. Like, the concepts are amazing and get you really hyped. Like, even if they take up deck slots, I'm excited about the Paradox Pokemon. Definitely.
If you're still watching, subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when we upload new videos. This video right here details all Paradox Pokemon that we can expect to see in November.